Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Equals. Welcome, this is Nabil.
Hi everyone, this is Nadia.
And yeah, we've got the full set today because Max is here too. Welcome everybody.
Nice. And actually, we are coming to an end of season 5. So that was why we have all of us here to chat about what's going on, what's been going on, and wrap up the season with everyone.
Totally. We are going to do that today, Nadia. And it's also a very special, momentous occasion when, something's really coming to an end. And we're going to be celebrating that today, aren't we?
It's true. Max has come to a close of his 40s. He turned 50. This is a huge milestone, half a century-year-old Max. My goodness.
Happy birthday, Max.
Happy
Yes,
birthday.
thank you for reminding me of my longevity. That's the spectacular. No, but that's not the only thing. Yeah, very wise and very, very old. It's downhill from here. But that is not actually the thing that is the big momentous moment, is it?
No, it's not. And it's almost tough for me to do this, actually, because friends of Equals, you've joined us now over 50 episodes since we began this amazing podcast, 53 to be precise. And today is the day, this podcast episode is the episode in which we bid farewell to our amazing friend and our dear, dear co-host, Nadia. That is the momentous moment. I'm going to try and hold myself back through these next few minutes, but we're going to celebrate you for a moment today as well, Nadia. Everything that you've accomplished and be able to look back over this amazing journey of the podcast.
Oh my gosh, man. It's becoming real. It's becoming very real, and I'm in complete denial. Honestly, this podcast has been so much fun. It has been an amazing journey, right? I mean, when we started in 2019, that was before the pandemic. That's just wild. And then, look at everything that's happened since then. Pandemic, just on a personal level, with our kids, with moving. You guys have moved. Both of you have moved jobs even. Nabil, you had a baby.
Yes, indeed. I was looking back, Nadia, in this moment, I was looking back at the list of episodes that we've done since the end of 2019, and you can almost chronicle a kind of a history of the world over the last few years if you look at that list of episodes from, the arrival of the pandemic, from the vaccine issue to the discussions around racism. And we can go through this list, but you're right, we've also personally been on such a journey through that period. And I remember that moment in particular, right at the start of the pandemic, where we're trying to do this podcast and the kids are suddenly off school as well at the same time, and the bags are hung up in the just by the doorway, and we cracked on and we were able to do this podcast and our work through that.
Amazing.
So, I mean, the big question, Nadia, 53 episodes. You've got to choose which one was your favorite. Which one did you enjoy the most, or you'll keep with you? I mean, there's so much to choose from, but
gosh.
Yeah, go on. What's your
gosh,
favorite?
53. Well, first of all, obviously I'm not going to pick one, because why would I do that? Also, I thought you were going to ask me who my favorite co-host was.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're building up to that.
My lips are sealed.
Real question.
So on episodes, okay. So there's just been, I can't even going through all of them. We've talked with activists, we've talked with human rights activists, we've talked with world leaders. I mean, honestly, one of the most fun episodes for me definitely was the episode where we talked with Anand Giridharadas on inequality. It was in Davos. What was that, 2020 or was it 2021, Nabil?
2020. It was 2020.
It was 2020. So it was just before the pandemic, and it was just such a fun episode to do. And definitely worth a listen if people haven't. But then I have to say, being the IFI nerd that I am, having Kristalina Georgieva on the podcast with us was kind of jaw-dropping, amazing. Loved that we were able to do that, and so important to get her on the record on inequality. And then just generally, having episodes like the ones with Derek Hamilton talking about race, or with Dr. Varian Shepherd talking about reparations. For me, it was really cool because those were really, we've learned through every episode, right? Every single time we do an episode, we're learning. And that's one of the really cool things about doing this podcast. But with those two in particular, I felt like they helped shape my framework even for thinking about inequality. and sort of just like further nuancing and deepening the way I understand the world. And yeah, just it's an amazing thing that we get to do, and I'm gonna miss it so
That's
much.
an amazing reflection. And Max, we'll get onto in a moment ways that we can still hang out with Nadia for this sort of stuff. But
Yeah, well, I mean, you're neighbours these days. I mean,
yes, we
it's
used to
gone
be
from
neighbours,
being in
Max, didn't we?
different countries. We were neighbours when the podcast started out, and Nadia was off there in the US. Now you two are neighbours, and I'm here in dull, rainy London.
And Nadia, I think you make an amazing point there as well, because I think, we're part of a broader community that takes on inequality, that takes on social justice issues. And I think the podcast has enabled us to educate ourselves, to push the boundaries of our debate, the issues that you mentioned there as well. I love that Anand episode. I mean, there's so many that I love. Max, do you remember the amazing conversation we had with Pilato, the incredible music artist from Zambia? And we got to sample some of his phenomenal music and also his life journey. And we also heard about some of your weird music choices as well. I haven't forgotten that.
Yeah, I my dominant memory of that is you trying to make the case that early 2000s R&B was not just good music, but literally the greatest era of music in history. And I still can't quite. That doesn't quite sit well with me.
I can just imagine Nabil doing that episode and trying to like really portray himself as like the really cool one
I
on the
know.
podcast.
It never works. It never works.
Anyway,
what I love about this podcast, I mean, it's just an excuse to talk to your heroes and talk to interesting people, isn't it? It's just we've talked to so many people that I admire, and then you hear someone speak, or you read a book, and you think this book's amazing, and you get them on, and you hear more, and so it's such a treat doing this podcast.
And Max, let me ask you in a sec. I mean, we were reeling off, that Gary Young episode really hit me hard,
that was good.
On MLK, who he's written about, on Malcolm X, and so forth, and bringing that to the present day. But I've got to tell you, that episode, that Equals episode with Beth Mukami from the slum of Dundora in Nairobi, that for me is probably the one that stands out, because we got to hear of her struggles literally on the front lines, literally taking on police brutality, gender-based violence, and just the power of that episode. But also a reminder that this podcast has also served a purpose in amplifying and raising the voices that we don't hear from enough, that matter more than any more others to the issues that we work on. And I don't know about you, I'm gonna listen to some of those episodes on the back of this one again.
Yeah,
I think it was always the aim, wasn't it, to try and kind of mix it up a bit and have, it's great to hear from really famous people and leaders that we all know, but it is also fantastic to, through the amazing connections that the movement has, to just find those people whose stories need telling.
Max, what's yours? What's your favourite, Max?
Well, I mean, for me, it is a bit like that. It was Njoki and Soren was particularly poignant because Soren sadly passed away not long after that, and hearing them talk about, we did it for Valentine's, if you remember, and they're like an amazing couple in the movement, and they've been together since. Njoki ran the NGO called 50 Years is Enough, to get rid of 50 years is enough of the World Bank and the IMF. We're now heading towards 75 years, and they're still there. But it was great to hear the story of their activism and how they met and their reflections on that, and just particularly poignant and just great to get. I mean, of course, Njoki still did most of the talking, but at least we did hear a bit of Soren and his perspectives. And that was even, it was just a wonderful moment, I think. Which
3 years ago, actually, Max, that I remember that evening very and it was this time because we did it for Valentine's.
Yeah, it was this time of year, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. It was a Valentine's episode. Yeah, so that was a favourite one for me, and there's lots of others. I really liked the discussion of whether Santa was a socialist or not. I mean, that was.
We can credit you, Max, with the idea for that one. I think that was a great one.
Yeah, and that was funny. Yeah, we've had some really good episodes.
It's also just, I mean, it's such a privilege, honestly, right? That these people are coming and spending time with us. Talking with us. Gosh, yeah, I'm really gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it so much.
And we are, I mean, you are in many ways, Nadia, you are irreplaceable, and we're gonna find fun ways and exciting ways to keep building this podcast, to keep doing.
Wait. Sorry. This is continuing.
I mean, maybe equals will be, I don't know. Can I
Guys,
say?
I genuinely thought this was like the wrap up.
Look, Nadia,
I
I
mean,
think you will always be welcome. And I mean, let's be honest, Max, Nadia's going to be a lot more famous than you and I, so she can practically be one of the
This
regular
is
famous
back to the
people.
Beyonce. I'm Beyonce.
well, I was thinking more that we are Phil Collins and Genesis after Peter Gabriel left,
You really age yourself with these comments, man.
I just wonder how many listeners are even going to know who I'm talking about. People are going to be like Googling Phil Collins, but yeah. Or Pink Floyd after Sid Barrett left, So I think we're headed to bigger, a higher plane maybe.
All right.
But look, in this, we're going to miss you, Nadia. We've got amazing plans for our next season of Equals, and we're going to be hopefully looking at issues of debt, of issues of land, of this new crusade for minerals, monopoly power. Max, we've got some hopeful ideas. Do you think we'll survive?
I think it's going to be touch and go, and it will. Honestly, I'm not joking. It will never be the same again. But that said, with every crisis, there's an opportunity, Nabil, and I think
it's gonna be great. And I'll come back whenever you guys ask me to. You do know that, right?
And we will, and it would be amazing to have you back.
Applause.
Long pause right there. I was like, surely they're gonna say absolutely.
No, of course we will.
I was just doing an intake of breath because I felt it so strongly.
And as cheesy as it sometimes sounds, Equals is a manifestation of the work that we are all a part of. And Nadia, you're going to be going on to do amazing things, but we remain part of this amazing movement, taking on these issues of social justice, of human rights, and we're going to still be standing together in all of those. We haven't asked the most important question yet, Max, have we?
I was just going to say, Nabil, you're so good at that cheese.
He really is so cheesy, but it's like endearing. It's not even annoying.
It's so plausible. I'm so used to it now. But yeah. So what's the final question? I think we all know, isn't it?
It's Max. Nadia, we've had an amazing connection, obviously, with Max over the years, and he's very clever in his own way. But it's time to ask you.
Clever in his own way.
Brings a great longer arc of historical perspective. Who's your favorite co-host?
Max
and I have a very passionate relationship. So.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Nabil, I might have to rely on you for babysitting services at some point. So, gosh, guys, I really love you both, and I'm going to be your biggest fan. I'm going to listen to every episode, and yeah, I'm thrilled that I've been able to be a part of this since 2019. Oh my gosh. And now we're in 2023, and wishing you many, many, many years of Equals. And I'll be right here.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. I'm actually, tearing up here a little bit. All right. So I suppose that's it, isn't it?
There we are. Nadia, maybe we leave you with a close that we do every episode.
All right, everyone. Well, on my last episode, I wish you all farewell. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Equals Hope on Twitter. Leave us a review. Tell us how amazing this podcast is. And look out for season 6 coming up soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia.
Wonderful.